work, Andy. Hopefully that's worked out for him. Teammates on the front row. Welcome back, David Cedars. He's got the number 1 on his doors. He'll start inside row 3, first of the Holdens, alongside Craig Woods, who's doing really good things in this category for Western Sydney Motorsport. Kim Jane, a former race winner and round winner here the last time we went racing back in 2008. Ben Dunn making a return to the series. Welcome back to Ben Dunn, who's got a lot of ute starts. Marcus Akanovic, let's see if that wiring loom change is helping out. They've changed the first third of that, and that is the view from up at turn 1, getting set for the utes. Beautiful thing about this racetrack, you can see every little square inch from up on the hill at turn 1, and a really nice spot to watch racing from all the way back 21 years ago when we first joined this circuit on the calendar in 1999. Used to have the 500k race back in the day, and now a super sprint round ready to go this weekend. The Virgin Australia Supercars, race 15 and 16 of the championship. Armour All qualifying not far away for the Supercars. We've got this Utes race though, 14 laps, and it's all down to this championship fight. Harris and Kim Jane. Jane leading that championship, starts P5. Harris second in the points, starts P2. Barbera, the fast man, it's a real shame he missed a round in Townsville because he could have been in for the championship fight. Not impossible to come back from where he is, but difficult considering he's hemorrhaged all those points.
Yeah, really, he's in a position where he needs one of the front guys or both the front guys to have a couple of DNFs to deal him back into the championship hunt. But for me, I just had a quick chat with him on the grid, and he just said he's loving being behind the wheel, loves turning the steering wheel, and you can just see the excitement in his face. To be able to grab pole today was pretty cool for him.
They're two teammates that don't mind throwing a few elbows at one another as well, Raul Harris and Mason Barbera, so there could be some fireworks down at turn 1. If these two are side by side at the first corner when they tip it into the apex, I won't be surprised if they're still side by side at the exit of it. Neither is going to want to give up that lead at the start of this race. Track position will be vital. It's their third round of the championship, which started at Winton, moved to Townsville, now it's here. And looking forward to seeing how these 3 races pan out this weekend as we get set with the green flag. It's the East Coast Bull Bars V8 Utes. Biggest grid we've had for the year as well. Let's go racing. Red lights are on. Harris has his car angled across the racetrack. He's made his intentions clear. He's got a pretty good start too. Mick Cedars a bit slow away in the black and yellow Commodore. I think Harris has done enough. Yes, as they all crowd the inside line down at turn 1, it's Raul Harris, the race leader. Nice start on the outside of row 1.
A little bit too much wheel spin there.
Oh, goodness. Mick Cedars getting into Matt Spratt. The boys go for a wild ride. Sight unseen, I think, there. They get through it, though.
Just not enough racing room being given there, unfortunately.
Ooh, we've got a bit of 3-wide action down the back straight now. It's Nolan needs to meet the sandwich. Cedars comes swinging across them. The man with the mullet is keen to hang on to that position. Barbera right up the back tailgate of Raul Harris at turn 3. It's a long, open hairpin. Tight fight inside the top 3. Series champ going with the leaders. It's all settled down now into single file. But there was a little bit of heat in that opening stanza of the race.
There was, and just back to that point I was making about Mason's start, just a little bit too much wheel spin. You could see the back of the ute there just axle tramping as it was trying to get the power to the ground, and that was enough to allow Raul to get the jump on him. As we have a look at Matt Spratt here, that damage looks pretty terminal.
Yeah.
It was a hard hit. He got a fair amount of air, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's plucked the wishbone out of the right front wheel there, unfortunately for Matt.
Maxime Eriksson trying to go around the outside there in the Century Batteries car. Ben Dunn side by side with Peter Burnett, racing the whole way through this field at the moment. Is there a little overlap? How about Eriksson? Throws it down the inside at turn 1. Is he brave enough to stay there? Good racing.
He is, but the problem that you have when you're on the extreme inside here at Queensland is you've got to get a lot of turning done with a lot of pace on, and the car tends to understeer, so he's backed out of that. We have a look at the replay of the start, exactly as I mentioned before. A bit too much wheel spin there for Mason Barbera, but a great hole shot for Raul Harris to lead them through turn 1.
So watch further back, the blue ute on the outside of turn 1 goes around Cedars. Yeah, Cedars still a rookie driver, didn't know that he had a driver on the outside there. It's really difficult to actually have much vision in these cars.
Yeah, all race cars are pretty similar to that. You've got the roll cage inside there, but unfortunately, Cedars is going to have a look at this post-race and just take it into consideration for the next 2 races over the weekend, because for me, it is possible to go through there too wide. You just need to give each other enough room. like these guys are doing here.
The damage was already done, wasn't it? Still parts of this car falling off. That car now back in the pits.
It's about that point where the wishbone on the top upright or the top arm has let go, unfortunately.
It's the old school way of changing tyres in the utes. The 5 lug nuts. Harris not getting away from Mason Barbera.
And great to see some pressure on Ryle this weekend. He pretty much had the field covered when we were in Townsville a few weeks ago, but this weekend he's going to have to work for his wins. Mason's giving him plenty of hurry up there from behind. He's actually closed that gap over the last lap.
Here we go.
It'll be up to Dave Cedars to hook on the back.
Craig Woods having a crack at the championship leader. Nicely done. The Western Sydney Motorsport ute goes through. It's a broken rim as well. Wow, that's deformed and chipped away.
Reckon they'll be able to buff that out? Probably not.
With a hammer. Fight at the front's a good one. It's probably good for this race that Barbera didn't break through to the lead because he's got so much speed. It looks like Ryle Harris is going to really have to work for this one. So what do you do here when you're the man in second? Because obviously your plan is to get the lead, but driving off the racing line to try and make a move stick can leave you vulnerable to the guy in third. 3
very different mindsets going on here between Ryle, Mason and Dave. You know, Ryle, he's got everything to lose here, so he's going to be trying to cover Mason off. Mason's the cork in the bottle, as we always say. So he's trying to move forward, but also to defend to Dave. And really, for me, Dave's the guy in the plum seat at the minute. He'll be sitting there thinking, okay, I'm just going to sit back. I'm going to give these guys a little bit of room. I'm going to see if Mason makes a move on Ryle, and if he does, I'm going to try and be cheeky and make 2 spots here.
Saw it work in the Formula 4 race. When the moves happen, sometimes you can pick up a couple of spots, and Ryle Harris going defensive early on.
Good run for Mason out of turn 2, and Ryle picked up on that. He covered very, very early. It's probably a bit early in the race for my money to be blocking, so I'd like to see these boys open it up a bit. Let them race a bit harder.
This is good. This is a good battle. This bodes well. 3 of the best guys in the season so far. Cedars in his first round for the year, but as the reigning champ, you'd always believe that he'd have the speed. Proving it here, the first of our Commodore drivers. Lately, the Fords have been dominating. They've won all 6 races so far this year. Barbera now up the inside and using the bumpers to get Ryle Harris up. Now can Cedars follow through? This is his chance to maybe pick one of them off. Barbera gets a pretty dusty exit. The teammates are throwing down. Turn 1, difficult spot to get that.
And it's not over yet. Oh. Ryle just had enough overlap. This is terrific racing. And look at these guys. They're giving each other enough room. Plenty of respect out there. Mason, he really forced the issue into the last corner there. There probably wasn't a gap, but he made a gap. And that's terrific racing.
And he's got the overlap again. Harris tries to cover, but the pink and black nose is already there.
Ryle needs to be...
Oh! I thought they were going then. I thought they were gone. And that could have been monstrous.
Absolutely, it could have. And really, the onus there was on Ryle Harris. You cannot run somebody over the white line. You can run them to the edge of it, and it's still on here.
Well, this is Barbera's chance to return serve. They go 3 wide for the lead. Cedars, he's been trying to stay out of it, but wants to pick up the scraps. He'll be on the outside for a couple of left-handers. Barbera somehow comes away still in the lead. And this has actually given Woods and Jane a chance to catch up. And Woods all over this.
Compromised Mason's run out of turn 5 there because he was a bit late getting on the throttle. Craig Woods has got up the inside there.
This is amazing. Barbera's the fastest guy out there, and all of a sudden he goes from first back to 4th. Has he got the overlap out of that last corner? Yes. No. That was one of the best laps of the utes we've seen in 2017. That was good.
Terrific racing, really good. And here we'll have a replay of these guys down the run from turn 2 to turn 3 as we hear the guys in the crowd loving the action. But Mason was allowed to do exactly what he did there. He could hold his place get into the back of Ryle because Ryle was trying to come across on him. You're allowed to do that. And if Ryle had have turned himself around, the stewards would have said, you know what, you've done that to yourself, play on.
You would have yourself to blame. Barbera back on the attack, gets up the inside of Woods, and there's room on the outside for Woods to hold on to that overlap. Wow-wee, this is aggressive racing in race 1. Thoroughly enjoying it. Cedars has gained a little bit of time on the race leader, Ryle Harris. Now Barbera needs to focus again and try and catch up. High temps will be scorching right now with battles like that for 2 laps.
And I just read what Mason did on Craig. There's a little bit of frustration coming from within that car. Mason will be dirty on himself. He's just tried to make a move for the lead and ended up back in P4. So he's, he's thinking to himself, I've got to get on with this. I've got to get by Craig, run him out of room a little bit.
Oof. We've got Mick Cedars in the fence in the background. Turn 6, and that car's gone straight ahead. There it is.
It's a big hit.
He'd set a fast first sector time earlier. He's gone in there at a great rate of knots. This could be a Vodafone safety car. That'll give Barbera a chance to cool the tyres and catch up. Unless, hold the phone. He's not going to get out of there, is he?
I think he's just dug himself a hole, unfortunately. Looked like he was moving there for a bit. As soon as he stopped and tried to grab first, the rear of the car just sunk, unfortunately.
He needed to keep going backwards. He was on a winner there.
He's a bit under the weather this weekend, Mick Cedars, so it's not going to help his headache.
Still out there. No safety car yet, so it'll be potential local yellow. Yeah, I can see a yellow flag waving at the window, so local yellows for now as we reach the halfway point.
There's the safety car board, unfortunately. As you say, local yellow has come out.
They gave him as much of a chance to get out of there. So this will set up a real thrilling finish.
And this has played well into the hands of Mason. He needed this. He obviously has a bit more pace than those guys ahead of him because he was hunting them down. He set the fastest lap of the race. This is a little reset period for him. So he needs to just calm back down there, get rid of all that anger that he had that we saw when he made the move on Craig Woods, and see what he can do about getting by Dave and see if he can get the race lead away from Ryle Harris.
The 911 that debuted at Townsville, back out now. This was a real head turner when it came out for the first time at Reed Park. Saw a little bit of it up there, particularly in the support categories. Will we see the safety car, though, in the supercars this weekend? That's a great shot. Safety car board out, and Mick Cedars climbing out. There's a fair bit of heat coming out of this thing. Is that from the brakes? Almost looked a bit sore when he was walking away from that one.
Guys, I thought I'd grab Jonathan Bloxham, who, Chad, you said he's getting his engine changed at the moment. Now, I did want to talk about the Luke Spalding tribute on that ute. He was a great young kid, an awesome racer, and it's great that you've been able to keep the name on the car this weekend.
Yeah, there was no way we were going to take Luke's name off the car. The car is exactly the same as it was, although the engine's not as good as it was when Luke ran it round. But look, the whole team's, the Best Jet team's been fantastic. Luke's dad's first one in there to pull the motor out. The engine's already out. And Kim Jane, the series leader, has actually lent us an engine for tomorrow's race. It's pretty amazing what these guys do.
Mate, it is amazing. And you said to me before, there's a bit of momentum coming for next year as well with this new, the new car, or the new utes, I should say. You're going to get yourself in one of these?
We're looking pretty good. We after yesterday's meetings here, New Pioneer Holden have come up and they're starting to talk about some possibly 3 for next year. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Flocky, can you make it 4 and get me into one of these?
Mate, there's a few in line. The line's all the way down the end of the pit. Everyone wants to get in a ute.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Well, he's a very smart man, Jonathan Bloxham, so I imagine the answer will be no, Cameron. You'll be nowhere near that ute. We've seen what you can do to an RX-7 improved production car. So we've got the Vodafone safety car out there at the moment, and that is a real nice touch this weekend, continuing the Best Jet ute in the series, which raced last year. And since Luke Spalding, unfortunately, very sadly, passed away, we get to see that ute back out on track here at the venue where he wrapped up his Formula 3 national class title win as well, which is pretty cool. So this is not too far away from being cleared up. Excellent work by our mostly volunteer officials.
It's gone a long way into the gravel trap there at turn 6, which for me is a bit odd. You know, we've seen a couple of people run off there this weekend but not bury themselves that deep. So I don't know if Cam's still down in the lane there, whether you can run up and have a chat with the guys at Cedars and see what's happened, whether it was just a mistake or a mechanical, but that was a long way in.
I wonder if it's A legacy of the opening laps, little bump that he had maybe.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
Could have cut through something. How cool is the Coates Hire drone cam from up above? You come to a venue for 21 years and you think you know how it looks, and then you look at it from above and it's totally different to how you had it in your head. Very cool, because we are right just about on top of where that all happened. Yeah, there you go. So the gravel flew.
Speaking of some cool shots.
Wow.
That one's timed very well.
Action shot. We have a lot of extremely talented and professional photographers around the venue, as well as our amazing, it's Roscoe who took that shot. There you go. The gentle giant himself stands at about 6'20", something like that. The man is huge and definitely a good snapper.
One of the best guys out there taking photos. Loves the sport, gets around, very friendly, chats to everybody. Exactly like you said, gentle giant he is. Good on you, Roscoe. Does a great job.
Followed up for you guys on that, and it was a brake issue. They haven't got good radio communication with Mick Cedars though, but they've told the crew to not stand in front of the car when it does come back in. So there was a brake issue, yet to be diagnosed how bad.
And a broken left rear tail light as well, to boot.
Great work by Cam down there in the lane, but as you mentioned, Chad, we can see incidents like that where cars come together and not necessarily end up with a breakage straight away. Next thing, car will do 2 or 3 laps and then have a failure, unfortunately. So it could all be related.
Okay, so lights out on the Vodafone safety car this lap, apparently. So let's see if we get this restart in. We should be going back to green flag conditions, as the officials have done an excellent job cleaning that up down there.
Everybody tyre warming there except for Mason Barbera. So not sure what he's playing out there, whether he just feels like his tyre pressures are a bit too high and he doesn't want them to be too high. He's letting him drop a little.
They would have spiked pretty high during that fight.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. So I think there's a little bit in that. We'll keep an eye on that front 3, because that battle that we saw earlier on, mate, was an absolute cracker for me. Loving it.
Yeah, best battle we've seen so far this year. All right. When the lights go out, this race will get back to racing conditions, and there can't be too long left in it. When you lose safety car laps, it's quite typical that it will go time certain, and on this occasion, it's going to be a 1-lap dash.
They always play out well, don't they?
Who's going to be the lucky dog inside the top 5 spots who can pull this off on the last lap? Harris, Cedars, Barbera, Woods and Jane.
From what we've seen so far, these guys are going to leave nothing on the table. They'll know that there's 1 lap to go. Mason Barbera has been strong out of turn 2, so that run up to 3 is going to be pretty interesting.
From the Coates Hire drone cam, we check them out as they approach turn 6. Time to really lay it down. If the action earlier was anything to go by, this should be exciting. Harris with a really nice clean restart. East Coast Bull Bars V8 Utes, race 1, green flag back in the air.
And Ryle made the most of controlling that restart there. So you're not allowed to go until you see a green flag. And when he jumped, he timed it brilliantly. Pretty busy back in the pack here.
Zekanovic, Nolan, Cameron this battle. Oh, the 2 of them run wide on the cold tyres. And Zekanovic, the 2006 champion, has the experience to pick one off. And there goes Nolan, speared by Ericsson. And he's stuck there. Last lap, though. So it'll be raced back to the finish line. Front 3, not a lot in it. From up above, play action in the middle. That looked like Skipper going up the inside and picking off a spot as they race down towards the double left-hander. Is that Harris going slightly defensive?
Very defensive, in fact. He's a long way to the left there, and that little jump that he got on the restart has enabled him a little buffer and enough of a buffer to be able to be defensive. But the battle looks like it's on here, doesn't it, between Mason and Dave. Dave, been around a long time. He's going to cover this. But we saw before, Mason can force the issue if he needs to. Look for the over and under here.
Oh, a little bit of a rub. Harris has this one in the bag, but it's the fight for second. That'll go all the way to the stripe. Ryle Harris, 4 race wins in a row from Townsville to Ipswich. Great drive, and he leads home the series champ on return, P2. They'll squabble all the way down through the pack. Formosa just getting that one ahead of Pete Burnett. And that's a good drive from Chris Formosa. Picked up a few spots in that race. Nicely done. Whew, that was good stuff. What a good race right at the end there. Roll Harris getting away, nearly a second clear of the reigning champ. Mason Barbera will be a little bit frustrated. He had a race-winning car.
Absolutely, he did. He put it on pole, and it was all lost for him, unfortunately, off the start. When he just had a little bit too much wheel spin, and then he forced the issue to get by Ryle. Looked a bit racier. We can see the tyre mark on the driver's side door there.
Nice work. So it's Roll Harris who gets the win.